says the brothers from early 1970s and before, all the way to the foundation of Masonry, were not the kind of brothers that wanted things to be cheap and simple. And I was kind of thinking about this earlier, just because I don't know, man.
Because of that Freemasonry post on
yeah. But I think a lot of people, when I say Freemasonry shouldn't be cheap, I think they kind of jump to the conclusion that I mean expensive, and that's not necessarily the case. I'm not saying expensive. I'm just saying we are absurdly cheap right now.
Oh, I am.
And I am. Well, and that's a whole other. There's different places you could go with it, right? But the dues we have, if you look historically, dues were way higher than they are now. Degree fees were way higher. Everything was way more expensive. And when we had a huge influx of members in the 50s, the mentality was, well, we don't need to be expensive because, I mean, we can cover everything with really low dues. And that's what
we
happened.
have more than enough.
Yeah. So when the membership swelled, they were more than happy to drop the dues cost. But then when the membership declined, well, we've always had low dues. We don't need to raise them. We'll just fundraise. And so instead of going back to where we were before with higher dues and degree fees, we took kind of this victim mentality, like, oh, we're on fixed income, blah blah blah. Dude, everyone's on fixed income. We're all on fixed income. Unless you're in sales and your income fluctuates based on your success, we're all on fixed income. If you're on salary, you're on fixed income. If you work hourly, unless you get a whole lot of overtime on a regular basis, you're on fixed income. And so this idea that we're pricing people out, to me, is a little bit absurd.
You got to go back it's back further than when we had all the numbers. You know, we had all the numbers in the 50s during the joiner period, right? We had those big numbers. But the problem with dues actually happened prior to that. The problem with dues actually happened because of the Great Depression, and a lot of people that experienced the Great Depression lost all their money. They lost everything they had. Oh my goodness. So they lost everything that they had, and so they couldn't afford the dues. And so many lodges at that time decided to decrease or freeze their dues so that the membership could stay members and continue to be Freemasons through the Great Depression. And then from then on, it never really picked back up where it was supposed to. And I've had great lengthy discussions about this with people that are a lot smarter than me that helped me to change my mind on this aspect of the dues. That's what started the
either way
lack of decrease.
You're looking at the same
but
concept.
Then
you're looking at the same
concept. Compounded. Well, right. But the concept. Well, I was just going to say it just compounded because of the fact that in the 50s everybody joined, and then they said, "Oh, well, it's all okay anyways."
Yeah,
it all worked itself out. So then they got on this hiatus of everything's fine. We're living the dream. Everything can stay how it is. And so since then it has stayed how it is. And now we have people that are complaining again that people like us are trying to be elitists, whereas we're just trying to get the dues back to where they're supposed to be
before people start losing their lodges.
Right. Yeah. Relative to where we were originally.
So I suspect there's some accuracy in both the things we're saying, and it's the same concept.
I think there is.
If the dues were dropped because of the Depression, immediately after the Depression,
they should have increased them. But
that's when the membership swelled, and so you're like saying, "Hey, why? We don't even have to bring them back up because we have." There's a lodge in Central Texas that at one time, and this is no exaggeration, they were raising over 1,000 people a year. 1,000 people a year, and they had
They had lodge open full time,
and
all week. They had lodge open.
The instructor had to charge people per hour to teach them their work. He could not have a full-time job. It was all day. And so
they had several positions like that. Yeah. They had the instructors, they had people that were teaching the esoteric meaning behind it. They had like professors per se. Mm-hmm. So they had people that were getting paid to do the jobs.
Just to put context.
There were people that were
people saying I can't afford this. Well, first of all, you could find ways to pay for things that are important to you, right? And there was one comment that's saying that this is kind of an elitist, like only rich people push for this. I'm a school teacher, dude. I mean, I'm not poor, but I'm definitely not rich either. If I'm being frank, between both my lodges before meals or gas or anything else, I'm paying about $600 a year just in dues between two lodges. And so it's just a matter of making it work for what's important to me. And it would happen to be that one of the lodges coming in January, they're going to start using not Stripe. Is it Stripe? Oh gosh, Square. Yes, Square, to allow monthly payments, and it's going to be $33 a month, and that's still less than I pay for my gym membership. So Michael Meeker says cost too many folks getting endowments. It's not about people.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. It's not about getting endowments. It's about what they're paying for endowments. That's the problem. And
right.
And the issue as it is now is we have too many people that have got cheap endowments. By cheap, I'm talking about like $500, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, because like dues, they haven't been raising them through the years.
Well, even when they raise dues, they would leave the endowments where they are. Like when the endowment program came around, the average dues.
Right. What I'm saying is, just like the dues, they haven't raised endowments.
Yes, but like I was saying,
listen, grasshopper.
Like I was saying, when the endowment program came about, the average dues was about $25, and the dues have gone up, but the endowments have not necessarily. So when the dues were $25, 20 times your dues was $500, right? And now when most lodges, the average is probably about $100, and the endowment is still $500. That's 5 years. That's 5 years worth of dues. So a lot more people are going to be more inclined to just endow. But what they don't understand is the returns are going to be per Grand Lodge law is going to be 5%. Give or take a little fluctuation, but the fluctuation is not enough to really even bother with. So you're going to get basically
$5 per $100.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. Yes, so you're going to end up with about $25, and your endowment not your endowment, your per capita that Grand Lodge is still going to require from most endowed members. Yeah, currently is $27.50, and so not only are you losing the money that you would have gotten off the dues, but you're also going to lose the per capita.
But if you don't have that balance, which most of the lodges don't, then it's a downward spiral to death to your lodge.